Hey, what's going on? We're doing another request video. I know, it's crazy. I've actually gotten requests. So, I don't really think it's ever come up here, but I have been big into scuba diving for almost 20 years now. I got my junior license when I was 14, so we're dating myself here. That was my big birthday present, was getting that, and I guess going back, we'll talk a little bit about the history before I get into the whole story. It's something my dad has been doing forever, and as a little kid, I must think of 7, maybe even younger. He was on a dive trip, and he brought all the gear home. He was renting at the time, and set it up and filled the bathtub up. And when you're that little, bathtub can cover you. You put your head under it, and kind of hooked me at that point. I was like, holy shit, this is cool. Just had the tank was sitting there, the hose and all that going in, and I'm underwater breathing, and that was really neat. Interesting how stuff like that sticks with you and becomes a lifelong passion and hobby. So it's a very fond memory. I thought we'd start out with that. So at 14, I knew that was when you get your junior's license. Begged and begged and begged and begged and begged and begged and begged. Did that, and then second I turned 18, got my advanced license, and first aid, advanced first aid, dry suit, NOx. That's off the top of my head. I've spent some time with my feet wet, we'll say. Still needs, I don't know about doing the whole master program. That's kind of a career step more than a fun thing. I'm also kind of torn. I did a rebreather night. I'm not sure. You need a certification to use those. My dad sat on it. Keep mentioning him because good, trustworthy dive buddy. Make sure that the genetic stock survives. So, but it's also obviously something that we share. He fell in love. I don't know. It was for those who know diving a little bit. There's a different feel. I'm not quite sure how to explain it to people who don't. I'm not sure. It's a very cool thing. Definitely, I'd suggest give one a shot if you can. I want to spend some more time with it. I didn't have a magical feeling falling in love. Although I will say, while I'm not greatly versed, I am sold on dry suits. They're incredible. That air bubble thing, though, that can be a brat. I struggled a lot with it. I started that, the first time I did one was at a free trial day. So, of course, it's free diving. I'm going to jump on that. I think everybody should do that. But, of course, they were smart, and they brought out the top-end self-donning, which is like a $5,000 rig. Needless to say, I don't own my own dry suit. You can get a lot of the dry suits you can't actually put on by yourself. This thing you can. It's still, I think it took me honestly about half an hour to put the thing on, maybe longer to take it off the first time. But, and that's self-donning. The other ones can be like that long with 2 people or a single person helping you. It's replaceable connectors, everything. It was really cool. But, so we'll get to the moral of the story, or the actual story itself, with the little preface of I've spent a lot of time diving and have I'd like to say, some experience doing it. I was asked, interested in getting into diving, want to try it out, I like water. There's dive day coming up, so do it. Okay. I suggested go ahead, do it. If you enjoy it, practice, get your cert, do all that stuff. So the question I was asked was, what about sharks? Well, sharks are cool. I like sharks. This has nothing to do with diving. I'm a shark fan. My little kid, that was the first thing I always read books about, was sharks and airplanes and stuff like that. But, they're not something divers really tend to worry about, even in shark-infested water. Most sharks, aren't going to care or big enough to worry you or want to mess with you. There's a handful that obviously, the big guys can screw with you. Especially a lot of places that will have them, they'll make sure that they feed them regularly. A lot of places like in the Bahamas will do that, is they'll go down when nobody's diving and they'll just drop off a couple chunks of meat, because people that go down there, recreational divers, want to see sharks. A shark got a full belly, and he knows to come there to get a full belly. So he's going to come down there and, I don't know if they chum it or throw like a lamb on. They didn't specify what they do, but they keep them there, so they hang around the reef, and they're gray tips or hammerheads, things like that. And they know that, hey, I can just chill here. People are gonna look at me, but I get dinner. So they're not overly aggressive animals to start with. Um, well, there is the one caveat, and that's where this story begins. Is the bull shark. The bull shark, which big guy, nasty, nasty mothers. They're the only ones that are known to really kind of pick a fight for no good reason or attack out of the blue. Uh, Things like people say, what about great whites? They're bigger. They kill people a lot more. Well, I don't have the statistics at the top of my head. I think there's more attacks from bulls than, but they're also really nasty because they can go in brackish water. There's actually theory that the shark that Jaws was based off had to be a bull because he did kill someone in a river. They found bulls in the Mississippi, for God's sakes. They're nasty things. So this was my encounter with a bull shark, and the funniest thing is, so we were doing a group dive. There's maybe 40 people. We all had our buddies, and we were just all getting in there in the water. And basically, what you do is everybody gets off the boat, gets in a big group. Everyone, gives a final equipment check, and then we all start splitting off to do our things. So we're at that part where we're all doing our final in-water equipment check, making sure everybody's there, counting. The dive masters are making sure everybody's okay. Because a lot of people that do that, they just got their certs. They don't have a lot of experience, so they have to keep an eye on everybody until they kind of prove themselves, I guess, of competency, thereby negating the whole fact of getting certified to start, but that's another story we'll save. So somebody starts rapping on their tank, getting all of our attention, one of the masters. So we'll kind of like look around, what's going on. He's pointing out there. There's a blob in the water. That's all we can see. And the water down there is crystal clear, so I'd say about 300 yards out at most. And he's getting our attention. He's like, that's a shark. And he's, well, we all are there in a group, so we all like, oh, cool, let's go look at the shark. Let's look at the shark. And we're all maybe 15 feet under at this point. And we keep getting closer and closer. We're maybe 100 yards, and we realize it's a bull shark. The size, you can actually kind of tell. It's that clear enough that you could shape, size, markings, all that. We're like, ugh. I'm sure for some people, they don't know they're sharks. They don't realize they were new. They're just like, oh, big shark. This is a little hairy. Some of us realize this is a bull shark. So we're there. It's this one big mass. He's checking it out, gets a little closer, and sees they don't have the best eyesight. So he sees us. He sees us as a huge freaking shark, this group of 40 people. We're all like, oh, cool, it's a big shark. He sees us like, that's a really big shark. Makes another 2 or 3 feet, bounces out as quickly as possible because he thought that we were out there to eat him. And for the people that knew down there, we were like, glad he's gone. And we went down, hung out with reef sharks, 6-footers and everything. They said like the guys that are stocked up. But yeah, the sharks are not that scary, and I was less than a football field away from probably the most dangerous you could be in a situation with. And as long as you're not like a scientist chumming great whites and hiding in a cage and poking at them, you're probably not gonna have to worry about sharks. I don't consider that. Surfers are a lot more in danger. So there's my interview with a shark. And all the other ones are fun, like nurse sharks you can actually ride. Kids in Hawaii do it all the time. They don't have biting teeth, they have crushing teeth. I don't suggest touching wild animals, really. I haven't done that, but nurse sharks are very docile animals. There's the whole genus of sharks varies, but I'm not going to make this an autistic shark video unless somebody really wants to know. But so there's my little diving history and encounter with the only time a shark ever kind of scared me.